Okay, good evening. It's 6:33. I'm going to call to order meeting number 1894 for the East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a quorum. We have 4 regular members present this evening. Do we have any added agenda items?
We do not.
Do not. Okay. Legal notice. There was a legal notice. The East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 at 6:30 PM. Details regarding how to attend will be published on the commission's agenda and will be made available on the town's website. PZ 2025-08, applicant owner is Dave Gleason. He's requesting a site plan review special use permit for section 502 of the East Windsor zoning regulations for the construction of a 12,441 square foot building, light manufacturing and professional services establishment located at 172 North Road, map 125, block 24, block 22. Zone is a B3. Full copy of the application is available on the Planning and Zoning Commission's webpage, the town's website. All interested persons may attend this meeting and provide verbal or written comments regarding this application. And this was published in the Journal Inquirer on May 22nd, 2025, and again on May 9th, 2025. We are at the public participation portion of our. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on something that is not on tonight's agenda? Do not have any participants on Zoom. Moving on to approval of minutes. We have the minutes from our April 22nd meeting. Does anyone have any edits or corrections?
I have a couple of them. I noticed line 94. We talk about, for an addition to building for more tractor and amps. Not quite sure. That refers to the and ampersand.
I think the amp could be deleted.
So we'll just strike that.
Okay.
Or do you want to, will you put the word storage or display or just,
No, I think it's just for more tractor and truck.
so it should just be
Could
and.
be and,
So
okay.
just
And.
tractor and. Okay,
And then same thing again on line 199. Reference it again, it's probably just an and then.
Yeah.
Consistent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong
And then
button.
again at line 284. That was all I noticed.
Anyone else have any edits? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of meeting number 1893 dated Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025 as amended.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, I'm sorry. Jim moved, Dave seconded. Okay. We have no performance bonds actions, permit extensions, or road acceptance, no new applications received. So we're going to continue the public hearing. PZ 2025-06. The owner applicant is JMC Realty LLC, requesting a site plan review special use permit for section 502 of the East Windsor zoning regulations for the construction of a 7,820 square foot commercial building for the contractor's office and storage yard located at 265 South Main Street, map 12, block 23, block 57. Zone is a B2 and A1 zone. Who's here to speak on behalf of this application?
I sent over the revisions.
Please state your name for the record.
Matt, GMC really own 265 South Main Street. I think I sent over all the revisions that you guys were looking for in the site plans. Trees, the fencing, the millings on the parking lot. I think there's a couple other things, a stop sign, a stop bar at the end. And stockpile for the circle for the stockpiling for the topsoil.
There were some, the May sixth revisions that you've got in your packet. The memo's been revised. Everything in blue in your memo. I had a list of items for Matthew to address. And I've indicated in that memo which one that's been.
I'm good. I looked at it. Yeah, I looked at them already.
Even Stacy. I will point out,
March
Here.
and April. This is April 2nd. That's the name.
yeah, it's revised May sixth.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry.
You have it. Okay. One thing I didn't see on the plan was any maintenance for the infiltration basin. Schedule or
So,
how that was gonna be cared for.
the engineer explained that there's no maintenance to it besides around when you mow the lawn regularly. Get all the stone inside to make riprap inside the pond, so it's there's little to no maintenance besides mowing the,
Yeah, you just weed whack around it or whatever. If it gets high, then they go inside and weed whack it out.
exactly.
You mentioned the stockpile. Where is that?
It's south.
Okay. Because originally we were talking up in here. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not-
And that is just for construction.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a big pile. It's whatever I get from a job site, clean it up, sift it, send it back out.
Oh, that's where you're gonna do it?
I think that's where we circled it next to the,
Okay, I was thinking that was for construction purpose.
So that's out of the
it's out of the wet.
view area, because that's here.
Topsoil stockpiling. Okay. Not temporary. So when you're coming, that's part of your business. It's not a temporary for the site construction. It's for your operation
Yeah,
going forward.
there may or may not be a pile there. I just put it there because you guys said this.
Yeah.
No, just,
And that was on there when you got your wetlands approval.
Correct,
All right.
yes.
Sure.
sometimes people will put a spot during construction where they move all the topsoil and complete, and then they spread it all back out. And that's where we wanted to clarify that it's not a temporary pile, that's gonna be part of your operating plan. Any other items in your memo that needed to be addressed?
I did hand out the lighting specifications
Yeah.
that you asked for. Just the notation that you'll have to come in for a sign permit when you're ready,
They put outside, out front? Okay, yeah,
separate permit.
okay.
And the fee in lieu of sidewalk would apply.
That was the next question with that, when we touched upon it. So it's a state road and there's no sidewalks on it. How would that work without being a state road and no sidewalks on that strip?
Just any new development either does one or the other. They either put in sidewalks or they pay the fee in lieu of.
Okay, So I can't, you guys show me where a sidewalk is and I'll go and fix it, or?
I don't know, it doesn't,
It goes
unfortunately,
into town
Okay,
fee, fund
okay.
for use on sidewalks.
For fixing other sidewalks.
we're constructing.
Yep.
you know,
Constructed.
How was that calculated?
DPW will.
The town engineer calculates. the-
Yeah, he has a per linear foot
What?
calculation. And then the fee is typically 40% of whatever that is.
So it's less expensive to do it.
He's using a standard method every time he does it. He's
Okay,
got the same method.
It's less cheaper to waive it,
okay,
to not put them in.
okay.
Yeah.
Some millings, signage,
Let me sign off and everything.
okay. Does anybody have any other questions of the applicant?
So I do have a question with the perimeter trees. I noticed we have perimeter trees adjoining 259, 261. I don't see anything along the frontage. Frontage is 224 feet. And we have no front perimeter trees. Supposed to be one every 50 feet. I see nothing on the border with 275.
275 has those arborvitaes that are installed are already, those are ones that are on my property. So they said we can use those as the trees that are already there.
He's
I
gonna say,
didn't see a mention of that.
That's this
Yeah.
shaded at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, circle there, back.
These little circle guys, okay.
And then again, on this
That is in the back.
separate sculpted line.
Scale up.
Do you think
Yeah.
some shade tree on the roof frontage?
Yeah, 204.35 feet.
4 trees.
Point,
Yeah.
Yeah. And every 50 feet is supposed to be tree.
That's gonna become 580. Yeah. Shade trees.
that we fucked it.
You can make these modifications for the final milers that you use.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Dave?
No, that was all I saw. I see the dumpster pad, chain fence of privacy.
Stacy, do you have any questions?
I'm good.
Yep.
I know you've seen the draft motion.
Yes. Yes.
I added, a condition that the address of your building is posted on the building,
Absolutely.
Okay.
so that it's visible from the street
On the building, so it's visible from the street? Okay.
or on your sign.
I'll definitely do, put it on the
You
sign.
can see it from the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the audience that'd like to comment or question for this application?
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. Yeah, 100% in favor. What we need is active businesses in town to help pay taxes. Thank you very much. All I got.
Being staff satisfied with everything? Everything on? Mhm. So if nobody's got anything else, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearings.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, PZ 2025 6. Applicant owner JMC Realty LLC requesting site plan review, special use permit per section 502 of the East Windsor zoning regulations for the construction of a 7,920 square foot commercial building used as a contractor's office and storage yard located at 265 South Main Street, map 12, block 23, lot 57, zone B2/A1.
We have a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second?
Dave, any further discussion?
What?
Yes, sir.
So just for the frontage, for the trees that, this gentleman mentioned, so how are people gonna see my building when they're driving by if there's trees in the front?
You're talking,
There's beds every 50 feet apart
Yep.
and the tree's only 3 inches in diameter. Minimum size.
Okay, it's not gonna get bigger and oversized depending on what I,
Depends what you pick,
okay,
what you call out.
so it's all what I decided.
Could be a color burst, crab apple, coral burst, crab apple.
Is there a particular height that it has to be?
No,
Okay.
just calls it as a landscape buffer.
So I could put like an arborvitae almost, like a emerald
I'm
arborvitae.
calling for shade trees, so
Oh.
something deciduous, not an evergreen.
You have red maples going down the side.
I'm not familiar with trees.
Yeah.
Are those tall? Those aren't tall, right? I mean, I just put those across the front then. I don't know.
50 years from now, it will be.
All right, I'll figure that out.
Yeah, you might want to research that.
Yeah, I'll do a little research on it. Okay.
We have a motion in the second to close the public hearing and no further discussion. Call for a vote. All those in favor?
I,
Public hearing is closed. Comfortable to vote?
Yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I'll make a motion to approve application PZ 2025-06-265 South Main Street for a special permit for contractor's office and storage yard. Applicant owner JMC Realty LLC, Zone B2/A1, map 12, block 23, lot 57. This approval is granted subject conformance with the reference plans as may be modified by the commission with the following conditions. Reference plans 1 through 2, conditions 1 through 5, adding 5A, 4 shade trees in front of the building, is that what you call it?
And along Route 5 permit, yeah.
On the Route 5 perimeter. And then conditions 6 through 19. And this is on a memo from Ruth Ann Calabrese, Director of Planning and Development, Town Planner, dated April 7th, 2025, revised May 8th, 2025.
We have a motion to approve the application. Do we have a second?
second,
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
You have your approval.
Perfect. Thank you guys.
Good luck.
Thank you. I can go full building permit now, right? Okay, it's on the process.
Good idea.
Modify your plans and get it back. We can talk tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. Jack.
Yeah.
And plates are
Just-
just.
They've just been denamed.
Like, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, we don't work. I mentioned that about, no, for the record, Mike.
Yeah.
You realize, Dave, that your motion won't get anywhere because we won't be there to say second.
yup, not going anywhere. No, no.
Dave, I assume you're requesting to be recused on this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The record show at 6:52, Dave has recused himself from the next portion. Okay, we have a new public hearing. PZ 2025-08. The applicant owner is Dave Leeson, is requesting a site plan review special use permit for section 502, the East Windsor zoning regulations for the construction of a 12,441 square foot building, the light manufacturing and professional services establishment located at 172 North Road, map 125, block 24, lot 22. Zone is a B3. Who's here to speak on behalf of this application?
Good evening. Timothy Coon, professional engineer with J.R. Russo and Associates here tonight, representing the Leeson Group along with Dave in the audience. The existing site is 172 North Road. This is about a 1.7 acre parcel, zone B3. And on the exhibit plan here, North Road is at the top of the page, which is to the north. So this site is located on the south side of North Road. If you've driven by, it's recently been cleared. It's cleared undeveloped land currently. It's abutted to the west by other land of the leasing group, to the north across Route 140 by vacant field, to the east by Town Country Auto Body, and to the south by undeveloped woodland. There are wetlands on the property which were delineated. There's wetlands along the south end and the eastern side. Runoff from the property drains towards these wetlands, and these wetlands discharge through a culvert under North Road at the northeast corner of the property. What is being proposed is a 12,441 square foot commercial building for the use of light manufacturing, office, and warehouse. And this use is allowed in this zone with a special permit. So we're here tonight requesting a special permit. There is an existing curb cut, which is kind of doesn't show up very well on this exhibit, but there's on your existing conditions plans, you'll notice that there's an existing curb cut actually along the frontage of the property, which actually turns into a driveway to serve the building to the west. So that curb cut actually serves this site over here in this parking lot. What we are proposing to do is to reconfigure and shift this curb cut to make it so that it lines up in between the buildings and will serve as a shared driveway for both parcels. And we are proposing another curb cut on the eastern side, and this is to facilitate our tractor trailers maneuvering around the site. We're showing the parking. We have parking located up in front of the building and also on the western side of the building. Based on the division of uses within the building, there's a requirement for 15 parking spaces, and we are showing 15 proposed to meet that requirement. We are showing the dumpster enclosure back in the southwest corner of the property as well. The site will be served by public sewer, which is available on the street, and an on-site well, which we currently have located back here just toward the southwest corner of the building. There's no water available. There will be an on-site drainage system, which will be comprised of a series of catch basins and piping to collect and convey the runoff from the impervious areas. First through a stormwater treatment unit to provide the necessary treatment, and then into a subsurface detention system, which will be under the lawn area over on the eastern portion of the property. This will overflow to a riprap apron at the edge of the wetland, which is essentially where all the runoff ends up going right now. This was all designed to provide the treatment and detention necessary to meet the stormwater quality standards, as well as to ensure that there's no increase in peak discharge leaving our site after the development. Site lighting is going to be limited to wall packs, which will be LED full cutoff wall packs mounted on the building. So there's no light poles around the parking. We are proposing a new pylon sign. There's an existing pylon sign in this island. The original plan, we were showing that to be relocated because our curb cut required that. We kind of made an adjustment so that that sign could stay, and that we are putting up a new sign for the new building on the new lot by the entrance. So that, and again, we're showing the location, and that'll have to come back for the site permit application at a later date anyway. The area around the parking lot here will be maintained as lawn, where we have some landscaped islands for landscaping. We are showing also the perimeter trees, which again don't show up very well on this exhibit, but we have them along Route 5 and our abutter to the east. We have the existing tree lines to our south here, and this is kind of a shared property line with pavement and everything already to our west. But Dave owns that as well, and the other side's all wooded. So we are also providing some foundation plantings up along the building here. We are requesting the fee in lieu of the sidewalks. We're not showing sidewalks up here on North Road. There's none in this area, so we are requesting the fee in lieu of the sidewalks. And there's the drainage in the state highway right now actually is, it's a swale. There's a pipe. We're gonna have to pipe underneath our driveway as well, so that would kind of limit what we could do with sidewalks there. We did receive our wetland permit, our wetland approval last week. We also had a memo from the town engineer stating that he has no exceptions to our plan. And I also provided with our application a summary of how this proposal meets the special permit criteria, which if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer those as well. But it is pretty straightforward. I'll just finish with the architecture. This is a rendering of the building which was put together by PDS Construction, who will be the general contractor and builder out here. This is kind of the northwest corner, if you will, which is where the entrance is going to be. What we have here is this, split face block along the face of the building. This corner is going to have, we've got hardy board as well as storefront windows and doors, and then there will be an awning wrapped around this corner as well for architectural feature. Otherwise, it's a metal build with a metal roof, I believe. So, but this, again, colors may not necessarily match what's going to be. That usually is the way it is when you try to print these things, but this is the building as proposed. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you have. Jim, you want to start?
Yeah, just, hours of operation.
For the day for that.
8 to 5, Monday through Friday only.
No night shift delivery, none of that stuff.
No, sir. The night shifts, very rarely do we work a weekend now, so I don't anticipate a weekend here.
I see maybe dumpster screening and. Yeah.
I just have a question about how the shared property line.
There will be,
Easements or-
right now, Dave owns both properties.
Yeah.
So
Should there-
he does not necessarily need easements in place.
Yes.
If he sells the properties.
Yeah.
One or the other, then he will have to establish
Okay.
cross easements for the access.
Everything. You have anything?
No, I'm asking.
Oh, everything else? No, no.
Roughly how many deliveries did you get? Should-
Tractor trailer every couple of days,
So it's not even one a day.
not in one a day. No, sir.
And that's all gonna be between the 8 to 5 hours.
Yep. FedEx and UPS trucks roll in as needed.
Yeah, and I failed to mention, the tractor trailer loading will be in the rear of the parcel back here, using these overhead doors.
Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking about the property line also. I mean, the other thought is, would you ever plan on aggregating the two properties and make it all into one property or not? It's an option, I guess,
Yes.
to try to prevent from having to deal with easements and all that other stuff too. At this point, like say, you own both properties, it's not an issue for you.
Yeah, nothing.
I don't see any other issues with this, and all your
Every-
questions have been
Yeah,
satisfied?
changes have been made. Yeah, I don't have any outstanding.
And obviously, you're gonna have to get state approval for the other curb cut.
Yes. Yep.
This is a public hearing. From anybody from the audience have any questions or comments on this application?
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. We need the tax money, say yes.
Is there anybody online that'd like to comment on this application? For the comments, if nobody has anything else, so entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, PZ 2025-08. Applicant owner Dave Leeson requesting a site plan review, special use permit per section 502 of the East Windsor zoning regulations. for construction of a 12,441 square foot building for light manufacturing, professional service, established location at 172 North Road, map 125, block 24, lot 22, zone B3.
We have a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second? Second by Stacy. Any further discussions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Nobody has any further comments? I'll entertain a motion. Do you have a question?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this application.
Make a motion to approve PZ 2025-08 special use permit with site plan review application. 132 North Road, site plan review, special use permit applicant for the construction of a 12,441 square foot commercial building for light manufacturing / professional services established. Applicant owner Dave Leeson, map 125, block 24, lot 22, zone B3. This approval is granted subject to conformance of the reference plan and may be modified by the commission and the following conditions. So on the reference plans, there's one, it's not labeled one, but it's one line, one, one item, I call it. Conditions 1 through 5, I'm gonna add 5A here, sidewalks.
Okay. For fee and
So, at 5A, we're gonna add in fee in lieu of sidewalks on the conditions. I'm gonna add that in 5A.
oh, it's there an 8 on
Oh, you got an 8?
page.
Oh, sorry. So strike that. So with conditions of approval 1 through 19. And this is on a memo from Ruth Ann Calabrese, Director of Planning and Development, Town Planner, dated May 5th, 2025.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? By Stacy, any further discussions?
Can I
Yes.
say a couple things about the motion?
Yes.
For the revised plan, we could add the wetlands approval.
Yep.
To the plan. Then, oh, I wanted to just point out, there was an extra condition for, it was left over from I use this as a template. 18, it talks about auto body vehicle painting. I pulled that out, but I did add the address requirement to make sure the address is visible from the street on your sign. I think it's already on your sign, the building number.
Yep.
So it still comes up to 19 conditions.
So should I revise the motion, add 20? or
No, the
No.
one of them. street-
I don't want
Okay. Okay.
I just wanted you to know what it says.
Okay, there's no further discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. You're also. I'd just like to say is I like to recognize you for bringing new business into this town. It would have been much easier and less costly to expand your existing business, but I like to recognize you for having the faith in this town to bring in your business into our town.
Thank you. I believe it. That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Believe it. Good. Appreciate it. Thank you.
David is gonna rejoin our quorum at 7:06.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
One second.
Had a lot of paperwork today. Hey, Steve, you're over here.
Okay. Next item under new business. We have PZ 2025-09. The applicant owner Steve Dearborn is requesting a site plan modification for an addition to building from our tractor and truck showroom located at 95 Ryan Street, map 31, block 48, block 24, and the zone is an M1. Who's here to speak on this application?
Want to explain what it's about?
Sure.
All right. This addition is
Start by stating your name for the record.
Steve Dearby, 144 East Road, Broadbrook. Own this property on 95 Rice Street. The addition, it's a lean-to addition. It's coming right off of my other building. It's 5,000 square feet. It's 50 feet wide by 100 feet long. It's an all steel building, construction. Pre-engineered building. New core. They did the last building in the back for me. 6-bay building I built there years ago. The building, basically, it's got 2 overhead doors in it, 12 by 14s. One on the south end of the addition, and one up at the north end of the addition facing east. That's so I can get tractors in and out of there without moving everything in the building. I can shoot them out those doors there. If I want to get them out, take them to shows or whatever. Fairs. Building's gonna be a beige in color. Brown trim. All the storm drains and gutters and everything on it. Gonna have footings, foundation. Cement floor. Pretty simple. Gonna take the wall down off that building that's there now. To the east side where the lean-to was going on. When they built that building, it was they used some kind of corrugated fiberglass siding on years and years ago, probably. Building's gotta be 30 years old, I think, at least. So I'm gonna take all that down, get rid of it. And that'll open up that other bay to the new bay. Which would then be a total of 10,000 square feet. Bay. And it's, it's a typical industrial building. They roll the insulation over the purlins and they screw your siding right through it, that kind of a deal. Got a steel roof. They call it, I guess, a raised roof. No screws are bolted down. I guess there's clips like my other one, and they run a crimper along the tops of the seams. and they crimp it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically what that consists.
Okay. You got any questions for him?
Yeah, Steve, you're gonna rip out the old septic system?
Filling it in.
Okay. You guys said you got 2 more on site anyways?
So,
Yeah.
and whenever we have anybody there, I always have Pippin bring in a couple of Santa cans,
Yeah.
a handicap one. And a regular one, because everybody that goes to these things, they're old. So they might not have enough time to make it across the building,
They're all retired.
so I bring those in to,
Yeah, that's all I had.
Basically, Randy?
I just want to clarify the plans a little bit to be sure. So where's the addition exactly? Is it,
Square right here.
oh, it's this little
Yeah, he's
square
going
here?
there, that's square right there, yes.
Figure out what exactly we're getting. So that's where.
It's a big square box, basically.
Okay, and now I see the 100 foot by 50 foot marks. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
I guess that's basically all I'll ever be able to build on that property. Won't be able to do any more there. That'll be the final piece, I guess.
And he's signed off by the town engineer, and health department has been there too. Department of Abandoned Sites.
And the fire marshal, reviewed the latest revisions and he's good.
Marshall is good.
Money's good, fire market's good. Everybody's good.
Dave, you have any questions?
Do we have any pictures of what this is gonna look like? Real colored pictures that shows us
The thing he has,
like that pretty colored picture? Anything?
it's just gonna be your typical kind of industrial building
Metal,
with the
corrugated.
steel siding. It isn't corrugated, it's flat, got the little dents, you know, it goes like this, you know.
Yeah, but that picture would help us make sure that it matches what's there and
It
doesn't.
is gonna
stay-
match exactly what's there. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay.
Everything up there is brown and brown, so it's gonna be kind of the same.
Beige is like a light brown. That big building has all dark brown trim and gutters and downspouts. So that's what this one's gonna be. The doors on it will be white. Overhead doors, white ones, insulated doors.
How many do you see?
Pardon?
How many overhead doors?
Two.
Two.
One on the south end
Cause I see,
and one is at the northeast end. Be facing east. Because when you look at the end of that addition, you'll see there's 4 big doors on that great big.
Yep. There's gonna be another one there. So that's why the picture would be nice, is it can show us the orientation better than this.
I
plan.
wouldn't build an ugly building.
There's one there.
Southeast.
and then I think there. Yeah.
Where it gets a little.
Where the number ten, where the 10
Yeah,
is.
where the line.
Yeah,
is a
that's what I
little
think
bit
the other door is.
There's one right near where the
The
50.
center of the
Where the 50 is, yeah.
Would you like me to come up and show you where it is?
I think we just found it. We're okay now. Yep. I got it by the 10-foot mark and by the 50-foot mark.
Two doors and.
And no windows? Windows?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Pardon?
Will it have windows or no?
No,
It's just for overhead.
no, because I'm gonna have,
So
there we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
I don't like that, you know, that's spying.
That's
Oh.
a month ago.
No, I don't like that.
What's up with unregistered vehicles?
I know.
Of course not.
Well, in the junkyard.
Oh, you know.
That's,
And slide it that way. There we go.
so that's where it'll go, right?
All right, so the building's gonna come out this way,
50 by 100.
go this way. Can you bring it down more? All right, here's the big part here. There's an overhead door there. So the building will go from here to here. That's 100 feet, come out 50. And the roof, because this roof here is tapered this way already. The roof on this thing is gonna be dropped down, I think, 2 to 3 feet.
Okay.
Below this one, so the water will run off onto that one and then go. And it'll come out here. There'll be storm gutters and downspouts out here on this side over here. It's a nice picture though, really. Looks nicer today though. They got that guy, he's coming out, he's gotta do the test drilling for the foundation stuff. So they were, look at the hell are we here? I'm just tired. I've been on a plane for 2 days.
Go find another tractor.
Oh, yeah, I got some coming from Michigan, of course.
Any exterior lighting?
Excuse me,
Any exterior lighting on this at all?
only what's in the yard now.
You're not adding any wall packs or anything like that to the building? No?
When you drive up the driveway, there's one on the telephone pole that the power line company put off. And it shoots the whole face of that building all the way to the railroad tracks. So it lights all that up. Then in the back, there's a light back there with 3 lights that shoot out that light up the backyard for the guy with the car carriers. So when they're out there working, it's dark, they gonna get hurt, you know? And then tomorrow, we got some guys coming. We're gonna do a little bit of paving, fixing up there tomorrow. Supposed to come tomorrow afternoon. We're gonna start working on that stuff.
Any,
Pretty simple thing.
no pass through from the existing building into that building?
Yeah, we're taking the whole
The
wall.
whole wall's
Me
coming
too.
down. Okay, so that whole wall's.
Yeah, see, the building, when they built that building, I mean, they use like bridge beams, big I beams. And then in between them is like channel iron.
Yeah.
And then they screwed all the siding on. Those pieces of channel iron, they're all coming out. They're all coming out, and then the foundation is about this much higher than the floor in there. So I'll get Rocky Blue to come, and he's gonna saw that foundation right flat with the floor. So the floors are gonna come right up and match even. You know, so it'll be like, it's gonna be one big room. One big room, and it'll be heated with a hot air furnace like I have in the other rooms.
Do you have any other items that need to be addressed at all? No?
Yep.
Nobody else have any other questions? I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I'll make a motion to approve PZ 2025-09 site plan modification at 95 Rye Street. Roughly 5,000 square foot addition, museum building to expand the tractor and truck showroom. Applicant owner Steve Dearborn, map 31, block 48, lot 24, zone M1. Approval is granted subject to conformance with reference plan and may be modified by the commission. The following conditions, reference plans, there's one item there. And the conditions are 1 through 16. And this is from Ruth Ann Calabrese, planning and zoning, town planner, dated May 6, 2025.
We have a motion to approve the application. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Stacy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Have your approval.
I don't have any of that paperwork with the conditions and stuff. I don't have any of it. The probably guy Estes got it,
Yeah, maybe.
That could be.
because he's been doing,
Most of the stuff is rubber stamp.
he's in my mouth.
There you go.
Well, maybe between,
They're not.
between the Opera House and the museum, we can get Broadbrook on the map, you know?
Go.
We're in the national papers now with the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you planning a grand opening type thing or?
Well, we're trying to figure out how to handle it. I don't think so. You know?
You're gonna mix up the-
You know,
I'm like, I can't force it
We don't
here
know.
myself.
you know, what days we want, we only want to be open maybe on a weekend.
Mhm.
And at the most, maybe 2 weekends a month. Because this isn't gonna be a job. I got rid of all my jobs, and get rid of all my jobs. This is gonna be fun, you know, thing.
The Chamber of Commerce will put together.
I mean, we have a truck thing happening there Sunday, the Antique Truck Collectors Society Nutmeg chapter. Every state has one of these chapters. Every year at the Brooklyn Fair, they have the great big truck show there. And they come in with some trucks you wouldn't believe. It's incredible. But they bounce around to different places, have their gathering and their meetings. So this Sunday, they're holding it at my place. This is their second one.
Nice.
And then next time they'll hold it probably at the guy's restoration place down in the southern part of the state. He restores trucks. They'll hold it there. And they'll hold it at this equipment guy's place, and they kind of bounce around, you know. I told him, I said, I'd love to have them here all the time, you know, because it's a good time. They're all old people, you know, and
Don't cause any trouble.
you know,
Sounds smart.
nobody argues about anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody cares.
I'm in for dark.
Then they walk through and they look at all my stuff, and you know, that's what I like. I like when everybody looks at my stuff, you know. they walk out of there with a smile, you know? And that's all it counts.
If you want a grand opening, the Chamber of Commerce will put it on for free.
I don't know how.
If you wanna do-
We don't know how to, like Tommy Coons could figure this out in
Sure.
2 minutes.
You know,
But me, I don't do something.
but we can help you.
No. But do
Okay.
All right. Under the business,
it. Thank
first
you. all.
item we have is fees for zoning permits.
We have an ordinance on the books. 03-02, which was put in place for zoning fees. And it's due for an update. State fees are included in the older version, and that was back when the state fee was $10. Now it's 60. And we have the $10 permit link fee. So the front page shows you the proposed update for fees. And I purposely left the state fees out so that we could accommodate any changes that might come that side of it. So for the most part, it's an additional $10 for the permit link fee to what was in 2003, with the exception of food truck and outdoor dining. That's a new permit. We changed our regs since the last time the ordinance was revised. So we now have that permit. Zoning compliance letter. We wanted to increase that from the current fee of 25 to 50. And then we put in a new category of zoning compliance survey. Those are more intensive because it's 3 pages of very specific questions. So you have to do the research to provide that information back. And essentially what it is a consulting firm is charging a client a certain fee for that service, and we get to work. And so we put a $100 fee on that.
Did we check any other towns and see what they're charging? Be comparable, because a lot of times in my world, there's different fees, different towns, and all the towns are all over the place.
For this particular list, we did not do that. There's another list. It's a separate ordinance for the land use planning application packages. And that we did a lot of research on what other towns were doing. And we wanted to, I think it was your suggestion, Paul, even to add the legal fee, the cost to advertise public hearings
Yeah,
and in the newspaper. So if you're coming in seeking a special use permit, you should pay the legal fees, not the general
yeah, I
fund.
agree.
So that's the biggest change there.
This is how you pay your budget, how you pay your house.
Yeah, offset.
Nothing has changed in 22 years. I mean, that's when the last time this pricing was updated, is that
Yes.
That's why I was wondering if it was low, because, you know, obviously
Yeah,
it's low, but
yeah.
we're
It
going
is.
up $10 in 22 years.
It's not- You're saying, okay, the town gets $35 and the state gets 60,
Yeah,
but,
so sometimes when I pull a permit, some towns are $20.16 per thousand, some towns are $40
for building,
for construction, yeah.
yeah, that's different. Yeah, and Ken did just update his.
Yeah, so make sure we're not shortchanging ourselves. that's
Yeah.
all.
Ordinance requires a town meeting.
Correct. We wanted to run it by.
No, I understand that, but the reality is, dollar amounts should never be inside an ordinance. They should be separate, and it should be referred to by the ordinance as a fee schedule somewhere that you can manage independently.
Hey, we got an opening, right?
We have to.
That's an important
Yeah.
factor, because it'll never be any good. By the time you get it done, it's obsolete.
Dated.
But you gotta go through a big legal process to get an ordinance changed.
Let's start in the right direction.
But you definitely need a different fee schedule.
Yeah,
But I think the ordinance should take all that out. And it goes to town meeting, I'll be making that motion Because that's not appropriate, because otherwise you're constantly going to town meetings over things. And I think that's a bad way to do it.
It's gotta go to the board of selectmen before town meeting.
Oh,
It's a good
yes.
Place to,
It does.
I can present it both ways.
It's a process, but the point
Yeah.
being is to streamline it, to make it work in the future, if you can get the numbers, the actual dollar amounts out of the ordinance and into a fee schedule, that's a published fee
Well, and
schedule.
that's gone around.
That would be ideal. But
I agree.
it's just a comment.
I appreciate it.
Even if you didn't.
Okay. Next item, we have a letter from the first selectman. This is in reference to zoning regulations pertaining to ground mounted solar installation.
Oh, I think you
Skipped over that.
I'm sorry, EDC request.
jumped down one.
Yeah, EDC.
I did go down, I'm sorry. EDC request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can give a little background, but EDC is working towards a incentive program to help foster economic development, which is a tax increment financing district. And that is not a new tax, but an area where, as we get development in, a portion of the increase in revenues, tax revenues to the town would be dedicated towards improvements elsewhere. Whether in, to help finance, sometimes it helps offset financing for utilities if you needed to bring them in. Or there could be a fund set up to help with facade improvement. So we're at the very early stages trying to work through what areas are suitable, like situated for development and what areas are in need of support and what type of infrastructure would help foster development. And so we're workshopping and looking to get participation. So you may want to invite Noreen to.
Noreen, would you like to give us a little more information on this?
Hi. I unmuted. Okay. How are you all?
Excellent. Yourself?
Good. Yep, Ruth Ann pretty much explained it. Economic development, we're trying to get back up and running and focusing on that program, a TIF, which could be very beneficial to us. But as Ruth Ann said, it's kind of in a workshopping process. It's can be a little complex, and it would be helpful to have input from planning and zoning as to how it affects you. We're also reaching out to speak with the assessor and other departments because everybody's kind of got to be intermingled in it. And personally, for me, I think it's best to get as many people on board in the beginning so that we can get to a point of making some, good decisions that we might hopefully be able to move forward.
So to implement this, is this a vote of the Board of Selectmen or is it a referendum vote or how would it actually get finalized?
I believe it goes from economic development to the Board of Selectmen, who would then do their part in it, and then they would forward it to a town meeting, and it may go to a referendum. It depends on how it gets put out there. It depends on what's in it and how it gets figured out. One way or the other, it's voted on by the legislative body.
And at that time, you have to designate what the money would be earmarked for, or is it just to create a revenue source?
No, I believe, and Mike probably knows more, Ruth knows more. It has to be, it's all laid out in the plan. It's certain areas, it's certain parcels. It can only be so much of our tax base can only be considered in it. And then the use of the those tax funds that would be set aside are absolutely earmarked. You know, you can't not have facades in there and then try to give out facade money. It has to be in the tip.
Well, I mean, reading how the town is currently, I think if we could fund monies to buy development rights on land would probably be well supported.
Yep. And that may be part of it. I think it's a matter of, you know, coming up with the best areas and the best possible sources of revenue, and then laying it out to what best suits East Windsor.
That's what Windsor Locks uses on Main Street.
As part of that,
It's that redevelopment.
is Paul part of the TIF also?
It's part of the TIF. Now, all the detail, forget it. I don't know. That's part of that.
Yeah.
So is there anything specific that you need from this commission?
Kind of ideas, I guess. You know, we were thinking possibly if someone wants to, maybe volunteer to come to some of our meetings or specific meetings, you know, so we can bounce ideas off of each other. And I don't want to step on other committees. You know, it's best to do it up front and so that we're all on board, because I don't know what you're all looking at from the plan of conservation and development or the building department or anybody else. So you know, kind of looking for a collaborative effort to try to get it going, and sooner rather than later. You know, a lot, just from my personal opinion, a lot of times we start things in East Windsor and it seems to take forever and a day to get there. And relative to economic development, this sooner the better. If we can get commercial or even larger scale residential development going, that serves us all. And this would be helpful within having something available so that if developers are looking for something or somebody's looking at a certain parcel, that there's already something in place that they can possibly utilize, and we can. And Ruth, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's never a guarantee. It's always something that gets negotiated and talked about. It's not, they can't read the document and say, I want exactly that. I believe it's all a negotiated thing. It's in our best interest, always.
So usually a big developer, they're always looking for a tax break, which is what we do not do on this commission. That's above our pay grade.
Right, I think what and we are looking at with the EDC, that kind of incentive, tax abatement, that those two would kind of work against
Together,
one another.
yeah.
The tip and the abatement, because we want taxes, so that we can take them and put them where we want to put the
But
money.
most businesses are gonna go for the abatement because you can get 2 years of your taxes for the abatement.
So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But if you needed special financing, like to bring a utility down to you, the TIF might be able to help you. And stuff like that.
Well, it's worth a look at.
Yeah, so I guess what Noreen's looking for is a voice from PZC to either be a liaison or have attend some workshopping meetings, just to kind of talk about the where and the what of an area, you know, the areas prime for development, in need of assistance, you know, that whole what seems to fit best, so.
Okay.
Noreen's also looking for anyone who'd like to join economic development. We could use some more members, anybody. Specifically, I need some Republicans and unaffiliated. If you know anybody, please, please feel free to send in your application.
All three commissions are.
We won't put anybody on the spot at this point. Give it some thought. All right. Thank you, Noreen. Next, we have solar fax landing page.
Mike's gonna pull it up and share it, just so people know where it is and what it is. I know people have been looking at it.
So this is from planning and development page. Come down to solar in East Windsor. There's, I guess there's been some stuff added too. So there's a web map, which we can pull up in a second if you want. And then, a link to the siting council, the Connecticut Siting Council.
Their dockets.
Yeah, so for the purpose of at least making it into the minutes, I know this group understands it, but all of the solar projects are subject to review by the Connecticut Siting Council, not the town. And so the intent behind this page is connecting people directly to the information from the group that is actually responsible for the approvals. So we're linking to all the dockets and the status of the pending applications in here, so that when you go to this site, you can see the applications, you can see what's been filed, you can look at the plans, you can see when they're meeting, et cetera, et cetera. We've also put some documents in. It's a quick little couple of slides that I pulled from something else that gives an overview of the Connecticut Siting Council and what they actually are, the group and their charge in the state. There's a resolution that this commission adopted about 2 years ago pertaining to grid scale solar, which we've got on. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. It's a little too much.
I can see good.
Yeah, we want to read it more than one letter at a time.
We're all
So
necessarily.
there's this, the siting council overview, the resolution from the planning and zoning commission. There's a letter from the selectmen to the siting council. Basically making the original statement of opposition. Here's one that was just drafted, formally opposing the gravel pit solar expansion. And then there's also a solar FAQ, which is sort of a one pager that again hits on the high points. So we're including all that documentation.
Take a look at the map.
Yeah, so then I put together like a little informal web link, which you can access here. Let's see if it will switch over. So I'll do it from. So what I've plotted is the projects that are in place now. And we've kind of put some relevant information in there for each. So when you click on the property, it'll give you kind of either a photo if it's there, or the plans. It gives you the docket number for the siting council, the developer, the output, and then this is a link to the actual petition and all the information from the siting council. So for each of the projects that are in East Windsor, so this is gravel pit solar. That's the first piece, and there's kind of the second piece. You can look at the photo, you can see all the information. And then if you open this in a new tab, and I did it correctly, it'll then bring you to the state's webpage, and this has all of the information. Their pool survey, it's got all of the filings, all the information, correspondence, the entire docket, everything from start to finish is there, so people can start to see that. If there was, like some of these, the town submitted testimony and wanted to be part of that, so you can see what the town's filed. So I think I looked this morning and there was around 250 views on the map, so hopefully some people are looking at it.
Is there anything on the map that designates existing versus proposed?
So, for some of them, what you can see are, I'm trying to think. So like this one's not yet constructed, so I have a snip from the map. And for the most part, they're all,
They're all.
These have all already been approved. These are,
so some of them may not be physically on site, like this
Right.
one's on. So
Not under construction. yet.
I'm just showing the schematic to give people an idea of kind of where.
Where is that?
The one that I just showed is
That was right there, it was just up there. Where is it?
46 Rockville Road.
Where is that?
It's just above where Barber Hill Road comes in. Let me see if I can do.
So it's the Norton Farm. At the Norton Farm? Where they're building right now?
They just started building on Thrall.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, as my son drove by, he told me they were.
So all these things you're showing us on there, they've all been approved and they're gonna happen.
Well, I don't know that we could say they're gonna happen because what the developer will do, but they've been approved by the siting council. And they don't need any local approval, so they very well have, many of them are already built. I mean, Gravel Pit Solar is already built, and some of those others. There's two of them, I think, that are not yet constructed. So those,
And those two are included, well, there's three. Thrall Road is just starting construction.
which is
And
this one.
then,
so the Rockville, Road,
Yes.
nothing is started on that one.
the two that are one above the other. That is being right now proposed with the expansion to gravel pit as part of it. Like they're taking two that are previously approved. So they're,
You know, you should be
Idea.
putting on there, yeah, you're showing us all of this, right, the public, okay?
Mhm.
But that doesn't come down to the money. The people wanna know about the money. I wanna know about the money. I wanna know how much of a break we gave these clowns. I wanna know how much we're charging them for taxes compared to the other towns around us who are getting 10 times what we're getting. From what I'm being told.
So this commission has no purview on that. We don't see any of that, Steve. We
I
have,
didn't say
No,
it
no,
did,
it's
but I mean,
shown
he's
there.
going through this, he's putting it up there for people to see.
Yeah.
Put the the different groups that are doing this stuff and how much we're charging them. And then put a list of the towns around and what they're getting for tax dollars, which is a lot more than what we're getting, okay? Another thing, when I was out in Michigan, I was watching the news when I woke up, right? There's a town out there that's got the same problem we got. The solar people are waltzing right in there and taking over all the farmland out there.
Yeah.
A lot of farms in Michigan.
Yes.
You wouldn't think so. Shitload of dairy farms, a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
And, same problem as we got here. You're taking over the land. They can't stop them. They don't know what the hell to do. So what do? Go buy some tanks
No,
and surround the place?
No.
And say you ain't coming?
no.
Go
So
say.
they're gonna come up with more money than the solar company.
I mean, how are you gonna stop them? How can the government come in here
Offer
and say, East Windsor clowns, we're gonna make you do what we want you to do? And you're not gonna stop us.
so it all starts with the farmer who sold the land
I
originally.
understand they have the right
That's
to
right.
do it,
Yeah,
but we don't have to give them a tax break.
Right, exactly.
That's where
That's
it
a
can
big
stop it
mistake.
right there. If we charge them and bang them good on taxes.
So
This town has,
Giving it away as long as we get money.
this town has nothing. This town has nothing. It really doesn't. The town looks like the old Willimantic.
The town
It's, you drive down the roads, you junk it. This town has nothing. All right, and we're giving the house away. We're not charging these people to come in and set these things up when we should be getting a lot more money for. So somebody somewhere has gotta stop this tax break. They gotta stop it. On this kind of stuff. It's the only thing that you've got over these people is how much you're gonna hit them for taxes.
Yeah, and the other problem is all the infrastructure, the main infrastructure runs right off those lines and they're all trying to tap off it because the infrastructure's already in there already.
Yeah, the main power lines you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still,
I know. I mean,
still. Charge them the taxes.
That's for the Board of Selectmen.
So, okay, now that's what my next question, who,
Right.
who votes to give them the tax break?
Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen, right?
Absolutely.
All right, then the next election there won't be many of those guys left on that board. Cause I'm the crazy sign guy. And I'll rent billboards on Route 5 and everything.
I think you'll find that
If the wife would let me, I'd run for first selectman. And that would end it right there, no more
prior,
tax break,
Prior
charge you
people.
double.
prior people gave it away. It just didn't get started right away. There's no reason to give anybody a tax break today.
When I sat on the board, I told them, no tax breaks, and they went away. They went away, yep. When I sat up there with them other guys. When Jason got on there, here they came. Okay,
All right, well, that's not really.
But anyway,
This commission.
It
I'm just
doesn't-
getting aggravated because I don't like seeing farmland eaten up.
We don't either.
Okay, I'm still
You're
a
right.
farmer and a dirt man in here.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
we've got a couple more things. Steve.
Okay. If you-
Like, coming down the road, we're fine, so.
Yeah, exactly.
The next under correspondence, we have a memo on zoning regulations for any ground mounted solar installations.
So this memo came from Jason to the commission. He's outlining, all the steps that have been taken by the town to resist the spread of, solar projects in our community. And, he's asking the Planning and Zoning Commission to consider a couple of measures, one immediate and one long-term. And the first one would be, regulations prohibiting the installation of any ground-mounted solar within the corporate limits and longer term. He feels strongly that the preclusion of any commercial solar development should be included in the next iteration of the WCD. So there's suggested language in our zoning regulations in section 301.2. We talk about solar energy systems. It really has to do with, okay, it says, consider it a structure. I think this is more in line with residential, that if the best place for solar panels were to be in the front yard, it gave the zoning enforcement officer the discretion, if there were no other feasible means to get the power from the sun, to approve the location of those panels. The suggestion is to remove that wording. I know that with Thrall Road, our regulations appeared to be favorable to solar, and that was a counter comment from the applicant at the public hearing. So the second item is the use tables. So our regulations, it's allowed if it's listed and not if it isn't. So I thought modified permitted use table in 402. And that's residential and agricultural districts, and 502, the business and industrial districts, to allow for rooftop solar installations in all zoning districts, with a notation added to allow ground mounted solar, and I would insert in residential districts in the case where the ground mounted solar is solely for use at the residential dwelling where it is located.
So will that stop the siting council?
No,
It won't.
but
So can we change the megawatt size from right now, our reg say 1 megawatt or larger is.
that's the
That's
state,
the state's.
State, okay.
anything over a megawatt.
So we can't change that.
Put is state.
So we can't change that number.
No, that's where they draw the line, that it's their jurisdiction.
So for general, but anything under 1 megawatt below, we go through us, anything above, they take control.
We don't have anything in our reg that allows it. Because that's how our regs are written. South Windsor recently had, on Scantic, the solar field at Draghi's that, was approved. They have a whole set of requirements in their regulations for solar arrays, commercial solar arrays. And they do it on an acreage basis.
Yeah,
Um. So. That particular solar array on Scantic was just a smidge under a megawatt of output. In fact, they were before the siting council and then rerouted to go
Under
a little bit smaller.
so that's a state mandate, not a town mandate, the 1 megawatt.
And I think what happens is these groups, they go under contract with the state to provide renewable energy and then they gotta make the timeframes for output.
But our zoning regulations are considered by the siting council. Nobody knows at what level,
Yeah.
So,
Chuck them out the window.
but when you have nothing,
Well, the way regulations have always been written is we describe what is allowed. So if it's not listed, it's not allowable. So we did not list ground mounted grid commercial solar as an allowable use anywhere in our use table. So if they were considering that we didn't have it allowed in our town anywhere, they didn't consider it very much then, because if you read our tables, it's not allowed anywhere.
I think they're looking for language to say we don't allow it.
Again, it's harder to write regulations for prohibiting items than allowing items, because somebody can figure out a way to work around your language
I'm not
on
disputing
prohibition.
it.
yeah, I know, that meeting, the Board of Selectmen
Yeah.
meeting, the attorney who's representing the town,
Yeah,
in
obviously,
opposition.
Yeah.
What I took away from what he said was, if you had it in writing, it gives you more, like, you really mean it, and here's the proof.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
compared to whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, even though they still, it's all, when it
Very
gets
difficult.
appealed, it gets appealed to the siting councils.
I mean, I'm all for if we want to add something right at the bottom of our use table, commercial scale solar not permitted anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
You know, leave it, if that would make any difference.
Well,
Like, what about the commercial building that wants to put in a solar field for himself?
That's not commercial use then. That's for personal use, not.
But we're eliminating it by saying solely for the use of residential dwelling.
Not if we're going just after ground mounted solar. So if you have
I
a
agree.
building,
No,
You have a commercial guy
oh,
that doesn't have the ability to get it on his roof, or roof isn't rated for the solar array. He should be able to put it on the ground for his own consumption. Could we get some
There you go.
verbiage like that?
That's the key.
That says for his own consumption, not for
Yes.
sale.
I mean,
Just sell it in.
we did it where I used to work, and it always works out that you don't quite. At some point, you're either you're producing excess in the summertime and you're got a
Yeah.
deficit in the winter. So
Usually-
you're still selling that solar into the grid, and then you're buying back as you need. Kind of. There's no,
You get the credit back from Eversource for it, really. You're not doing it
so you're still selling solar. So that's,
but you're gonna prevent the business from being able to put solar. And so you're basically gonna tell me, I'm gonna put a building on North Road and I can't put a ground mounted solar there to offset my electric costs. I'm gonna get, but my roof is rated for that.
Different rear.
that's
I
it.
didn't plan for that. Now you're stopping me before I could even get there.
Because
Well, those are all those are accessory. The principal use is the commercial building. So what this is talking about is to prohibit solar as a primary use. Whether it's, as long as it's on the property with the principal
But
use.
somebody can get creative and put up a 5,000 square foot building and 100 acres of panels.
But it's up to you to determine the intent of how that language is written.
Yeah,
Because in most cases, on a commercial scale, you're gonna overproduce.
You are initially, because the panels have a 0.5% aggregation
Right.
per year of 20 years.
So
So you
initially,
gotta overproduce to make yourself whole.
But if you're under the 1 megawatt, it's under our jurisdiction anyways.
Right.
So unless somebody builds a small building but has a
Big field.
1.1 megawatt out, you're still gonna be able to see.
but even a small building with 900, yeah, so we could.
But then you
control
can
the
say, you can't have a shed and a
Like,
10 acre solar.
Keep some
field.
of
Yeah.
that,
as long as there's a way to get the
Right.
guy that's putting the building up to get ground mounted solar at some point.
Sure.
And the intention is there for his own consumption. I agree, don't want any more solar fields, but I don't want to stop the new business guy coming into town with a building that may want to offset his electric cost.
And it'll be in a commercial.
And he's gonna be a commercial, so I just want to make sure the language is there that allows him to do that when we're writing that language anyways.
So that's the request from the first selectman, that we try to do something in our regs to further
Yeah,
show our,
I'll just add that I did, receive an email today. Crystal, about considering underground connector cabling. Which typically for zoning and plant, we're not looking at electric distribution underground. And as part of the expansion for gravel pit, there are easements to connect those proposed arrays to.
so they're trying to.
They want to bury it in the ground and
They want to bury them, they're not gonna put any more, like, as proposed, they wouldn't put more, like another transmission switch yard, or, you know, they want to use.
They want to
what
tie that
want.
right into the existing.
Exactly. Yeah, but I don't see where, you know, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
No.
just, the building official would have something to say, but
well, they go up in the air, or they go down on the ground. There's not saying
Yeah.
you really can't go down on the ground. It's done every day.
oh, yeah, I know, and I just don't see how it fits into how we apply the definition of a structure, or, you know.
Hmm.
But I just wanted to recognize that.
Okay.
So our final piece of correspondence is a draft ordinance establishment of the Solar Development Advisory Commission.
This came in through you, you received it.
Yeah, this is, I think, is kind of spearheaded by Keith Yagaloff, that he's trying to do something again to have another board in this town to kind of be a solar commission. So I mean, in his draft, he's looking to have, you know, myself and the first selectman be as kind of ex facto ad hoc members or so of this commission, but they'd still like to see, you know, other members of this commission to be actual and a participant in this, as well as people from Board of Selectmen, people from the farmers group, people from, you know, the private solar group that's established in this town, as well as any local business owners. So they're trying to get a wide variety of people to do this. I mean, again, it's something that's gonna have to be approved through the Board of Selectmen to create a commission, but it's just another something else to try to show the rest of the state, and that, you know, we're opposed to this, and we're trying to do what we can to stop the takeover of our farmland in this. We did have discussions of, you know, possibly if there was a way to go after the tax side of it, even if somebody sells the development rights of their property, say, at that point on, you're no longer gonna be taxed as farm, you're gonna be taxed as commercial land, even if you haven't even started building anything on it, which would maybe discourage people from just, you know, selling rights as a placeholder for these companies. You know, there's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of ideas being bounced around of what we could, but I agree with what Mr. Dearborn has said, is that if you can make it prohibitive cost wise, that's probably your best deterrent.
And where it counts.
Yeah, just make it very expensive to do in this town.
So what about having the town attorney file injunctions to stop them? I mean, we're not really even fighting them.
Well, in the last meeting, they did hire an attorney to fight them, to be our liaison at the siting council. So we are doing that.
But you need an injunction stop them until it goes through all the court BS.
I guess
That will hold
Thursday,
on.
is Thursday the siting council meeting on this one, I think, I saw. Cause until they've actually got
Yeah, if you don't.
any, you're not stopping them from anything right now. They just put in an application.
They-
So until they get an approval, there is nothing to have an injunction against. So maybe that'll be a step after the siting council makes their decision on this.
Any volunteers? Anybody?
Well, again, we'll see how far this progresses, but, I mean, I'm already named in here, so I'm there.
Lucky you.
So I love some company.
My wife said, like Steve, if I join any more commissions, she's gonna kill me. On 3 already, yes. Can't do it all.
All right. We have no business meeting or need for an executive session, so is anybody doesn't have anything else they'd like to bring up, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second,
Call for vote. All those in favor?
I.
Meeting is adjourned at 8:04.
You know,
I think on their own.
Terrible, you're.